Yo, what's good? It's Skano. So, I got a few Africans who think they, you know, you think you have a good talking point with this one here. Huh? So you jump in here and you say, I'm assuming you Nigerian because this was on a Nigerian video, but woo woo. You say that you're not surprised that you are receiving this type of vitriol from FBAs, given the fact that look how violent we are. Look at our communities. Look how we are at each other's throats here in America. You thought you had a fire ass point with that right there, right? Okay. Pick our worst cities. And I'm not saying we don't have our issues. Situation just occurred in Chicago, one of many around this country. Dude, OG, Mafia Tug, if y'all ain't heard about it, on Facebook Live. And some YNs pulled up on, he's on, got his ice wear on Facebook Live, like I said. And YNs pulled up on him, you know, had his low, and they went to get that off of him. And he wasn't going. And man ended up losing his life over a chain. And this is the type of shit that occurs in our communities from time to time. And I've never dodged that. I've spoken on it quite, frequently actually. So I'm not sure what you're talking about. Why don't you talk about, the black on black crime in your community? Like, you better not be here popping this shit. That's what I know. But since you brought up the issue of black on black crime, like I said, our worst ghettos don't compare. Don't hold a candle to the type of violence that occur in Africa. And they do their best, their leaders, to hide the numbers, to hide the facts. It's usually outside journalists from other countries who, release this information. But anyway, so I mean, the Eritrean versus Ethiopian border war, that was in 98. What was that? 80,000. 80,000 just, from what's known. Because like I said, they never put out real actual, data. So some of this is, but what about the Rwandan genocide? The Hutus and the Tutsis, am I saying that right? You had Tutsi wives murdering what Hutus, I don't know how the hell you pronounce this, killing their husbands. They from different tribes. But this was in Rwanda. 800,000 Tutsis. Actually, it was the Hutus killing the Tutsis, right? 800,000. And that was just, like I said, Tutsis versus Hutus or Hutus or whatever the hell. And I don't know how to pronounce this shit. What about Nigerian? What about the Nigerian Civil War? What about the Somalia versus Nigeria? 2 million. And that was just civilians. The Nigerian Civil War, 2 million, and that was civilians. We're not talking about military. So, our worst summers, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm not going to stand here and act like we don't have, some issues in our community. The hottest summers in Cleveland. Like I said, you can add all these cities in America together. Our worst ghettos and trenches. Add all the murders together. For the past 5 years, 10 years, hell, 20 years. It don't come close. It don't come close. So if you want to talk about black on black crime, y'all own the trademark. And we're not just talking about, we're talking about your political leaders who fuel these, who push these genocides. Your political leaders. Not to mention the corruption, you know. So yeah, I mean, it goes down in our trenches. But you know, and I'm not gonna get on here self-snitching, but the issues I had, you know, was with specific ops. I didn't, you know, click up the gang, link up, and then go through hoods, you know, where we murder off the entire family and rape their kids too, and cut their hands off, by the way, you know, shit like that, you know. We just hit up who we hit up and we out. But when we talk about black on black crime, and you got the audacity to jump on here talking about black on black crime in America, like you don't know what the hell is going on in Africa. Are you really African? Or you think I'm stupid? Like, come on, man. It's not even close. And the majority of the issues, and I'm not making excuses, but let's be real. Our construct is not controlled by FBAs. The American construct, you know, it's a white power construct. Why y'all gotta call on, you know, the British, the United Nations? That's who they have to call into Africa when shit go down there. That's how they get down. Y'all genocides and the shit be going on over there is so outlandish. The UN have to get involved. Not your political leaders, not your military, damn sure not your little rinky-dink, corrupt-ass police forces. Europe, the European powers, have to step into Africa to stop y'all from committing genocide on each other. And you want to come on my channel and talk about black on black crime. I told you, man, these people are not strategically tactful. A majority of y'all are not, you know. But what would I expect from goat herders and scammers and shit? I told you, man, I don't have a problem with you, you know, disagreeing. You know, I'm up here talking my shit. If you do, it's a free world. But if you're gonna shoot at me, shoot straight. You shooting blanks, man. You ain't even shooting blanks. You know what I'm saying? You got a pea shooter. Because ain't no way you thought you made a real point. Like I said, y'all have put the trademark. Africans, pick a country. I just named a few. Somalia, you know what I'm saying? Nigeria, Rwanda, Uganda, Rolanda. I mean, come on. So stop it, man. You know, and I know I've been getting on Africans' necks, you know, but don't just, you know, don't make up talking points. Y'all desperate at this point. If y'all had just stayed quiet, you know, just take your medicine. And this shit will blow over. Because like I said, y'all are no threat to FBAs. But if I'm being real, I can't even say that with real certainty because, as I said, man, they want to replace us. They want to flip-flop us to Africa so they can. You better not be in America talking this shit because a lot of y'all that be popping are in our communities. Talking about how, you know what I'm saying? Black on black crime in America. Why the hell y'all running from Africa though? Could it be because your kids getting their hands chopped off? You know what I'm saying? We know it's out there for the whole. As much as Africa try to keep a lid on this shit, so don't come up here talking about savagery. Because y'all could give out some lessons. You know what I'm saying? As far as black on black savagery is concerned. You know. Because none of the gangsters I've associated with condone the rape and murder of children. You know what I'm saying? So that's protocol with y'all genocides. And must I remind you, we talking about black on black genocide. 2 million? 2 million. And that's the low ball figure. Because nobody knows the truth. There's estimates up to 5 million. And that's just like I said. We just talking about the Nigerian, we're not talking about in totality here. So don't come up here with that, man. Try again. Try again. It's a small percentage of our demographic that's committing the violence here. The gang population is largely responsible for the black on black killing here. Y'all politicians, your leaders sanction genocide against other Africans. So, as I said, man, if we gonna talk about black on black crime, once again, we need to start with Africa. No ops left scandal. You already know.